Hey there. Hi, all. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening from wherever you're joining to all those who've joined from across the world. And this section is recorded, and questions are welcome through the Q&A box or chat box. And I'll try to answer all questions. But for any reason, if I'm not able to answer, I will make sure to follow up on email. And before we start, a little bit about myself is that I'm Bala Bharati. I am from the product team of HYCU. I focus on Dynamics 365, Microsoft 365, and Atlassian business of HYCU. So in this session, my aim is to make sure that the audience walk away with three things clearly. That is, one, why protecting Dynamics 365 data is very critical, and two, what real data protection and recovery in D365 looks like, and three, what makes HYCU really special in this scenario. So that is my aim. And before we look into Dynamics 365, just wanted to share like a quick update on quick overview on who HYCU is, and a little bit of background on us for those who are not very familiar with who we are. So we are based out of US, but we have operations and we have customers all across the globe and across all continents. And we are backed by Bain Capital and Ecru. They are our key investors. But we also have investments from Cisco, Okta, and Atlassian. So the investment arms of those companies have also seen value in us, and this is something that we take a lot of pride in, because those are some really great names in the industry, well-known names who valued what we do and what we built and have decided to invest in us. And we have customers who are very large, as well as in the mid-market, and as well as real small businesses as well. A lot of key players in the market like Microsoft, Atlassian, Dell, and AWS are all, we have strategic partnerships with all those players in the market. And this is something that I wanted to highlight too. This is from the last year's IDC SaaS data protection report. And as you can see, HYCU is the clear leader here, and there is like clear gap, clear daylight between HYCU and the next best vendor as per IDC's report. So, and we've also been recognized as a visionary consistently in Gartner for the past few years, and GigaOM has also recognized as a leader in their report for cloud data protection as well. And now the focus of today is going to be Dynamics 365, but I think most people in the audience know more than I do about Dynamics 365, because you people are Dynamics 365 architects and folks who work and build applications on Dynamics 365 on a regular basis. And I believe that is the reason that you are here. You see value in Dynamics 365, and I don't want to like go deep into what Dynamics 365 is and what value it provides, because like I told you, know those things better than I do. But the three modules that we've listed here, that is the customer service module, sales module, and field service, is what we are looking to protect. We know that there are more modules. There are about 12 or 11 modules in Dynamics 365. And but for starters, we are starting off with these three modules alone. When we spoke to our customers, we believe we got the feeling, the information that these three is probably the three modules that are most likely of value to the customers who we spoke with. And from an architecture point of view as well, it made sense for us to take to approach start our Dynamics 365 with these three modules, because they're all built on the Dataverse platform of Microsoft 365. So sales and customer service are available as of today. Field service will be available very soon. And for protection in HYCU R-Cloud, which is our data protection platform. And the plan is for us to expand our coverage across more modules apart from these three, and also go deep into these three modules and every module that we will be protecting in the future as well. So, and one point to note is that you all know that Dynamics 365 is not just about data, and it's all about the relationships between data. Like, it's with many other applications, you protect your data and you're safe, but with Dynamics 365, the relationships are as important as the data themselves, because the relationships are so critical and so complex and so intertwined that when you recover data alone without relationships, it's probably a very bad situation to be in if you are left to deal with the relationship building by yourself, which is why Dynamics 365 data protection along with relationship recovery becomes very important, and which is what we'll be looking at today. So when it comes to like risk profile, today every organization has a risk profile. They are just different, but then every single organization has some kind of risk associated with their Dynamics 365 data. If you have if you are a business who's very much into agentic workflows, and you deal with a lot of AI agents on a regular basis these days, and you become an AI first company, then the probably the most critical risk factor for you is the AI agents themselves. Because when you wake up and look at the news daily these days, I see almost one news per day that AI agents or AI workflows have gone rogue and have deleted something that they were not supposed to, or they have been misconfigured. And then we hear from our customers on a regular basis that their administrators accidentally deleted something or misconfigured something, which resulted in data loss. And if you are operating in a very highly regulated industry and dealing with very sensitive and critical information like PII, then you are very likely to be subject to insider misuse or ransomware attacks, because the data that you're dealing with and the data that resides in D365 becomes very critical and is very attractive for malicious forces. So, like I told, risk profile exists, can be just different based on the way that you operate, based on the industry that you operate, based on your practices and your infrastructure. It can differ, but at the end of the day, there is some risk or the other associated with Dynamics 365 that can cause disruption, that can hamper your operations, and that can result in data loss. But when you look at the understanding of not just Dynamics 365, any SaaS data protection in the industry, this was a very surprising revelation for us when we did the survey towards the end of last year. This is a part of the SaaS State of SaaS Data Resilience report that we released towards the end of last year. A lot of people who participated in this survey are CXO level people and people who've spent a long amount of time, a lot of time in in IT administrative activities. And even for this audience, it was very surprising for us to learn that they had this misconception that SaaS data protection is vendor responsibility and is not their responsibility. And this is partly due to the messaging and marketing of all the SaaS companies of today. When the move from on-prem to SaaS happened before a couple of decades, and then the overall messaging was, you don't need to sit and do administrative activities anymore. We take care of it all, and you just go and take care of your business. You just get value from our applications, and you don't need to do anything with respect to maintaining or administering our applications. And I believe the side effect is that people have started believing that data protection is also not their responsibility. But with SaaS, if you go and look at the shared responsibility model that is supposed to be shared by every single SaaS vendor, and every vendor does share it, it makes it very clear. Like, for example, this is Microsoft shared responsibility model, and you can see that Microsoft takes care of only things that are on the left side of this line, which is all about availability. They take care of their platform, their data center, their infrastructure, and make sure that the service is available and ensure service uptime. That is what they do. But when it comes to data protection and recovery, the responsibility lies on the customer, and that is made very clear by Microsoft and other SaaS vendors in cases of other applications as well. But with respect to D365, Microsoft makes it very clear that protection and recovery of granular records or meeting compliance requirements in terms of data protection, or being able to recover fast at the right level, whether it is an individual record or a table or the environment, it is all the customer's responsibility. And and what does Microsoft offer? We hear a lot of customers tell that Microsoft's data protection features are enough for us, and that is like a common thing that we keep hearing from a lot of people in the industry. But if you look closely at what Microsoft provides, like I told, it's all availability tooling that is often being mistaken for data protection. And they tell that they give you automated environment backups with which comes with a 28-day hard ceiling. But if you like look closely at it, if you double click on it and try to understand what it actually is, um, production goes offline if you're going to use it. Your production gets converted to a sandbox environment, and then the entire environment roads back. So there is hours of downtime, and everything since that restore point is actually gone. So if you lost a table, and the only way that Microsoft provides recovery is by rolling back the entire environment, which is not an ideal situation at all, because I just lost a table, and it's not worth losing so much of time and all the data after restore point and going through so much of a process and downtime and recovering one table by using Microsoft's native capabilities. And similarly with recycle bin can help in certain situations, like recent deletions, of course, can be recovered with recycle bin, but it doesn't cover a lot of data protection, data loss scenarios that we spoke about in the previous slides, like ransomware attacks or data corruption or overrides, and these kind of things. They are not taken care of by recycle bin. Recycle bin's purpose is different, and seeing it as a data protection mechanism is a very common mistake. And at the end of the day, this is all availability tooling. This is not real data protection strategy and not true data protection, which is what we at HYCU offer. So before we talk about HYCU R-Cloud, I wanted to take a step back and look at the bigger picture, not just Dynamics 365 here. So HYCU sees data protection as a platform problem. We do not see it as a point product problem. Like whether you're small or large or mid-sized business, any business today is going to be dealing with multiple SaaS applications and multiple critical SaaS applications. And if you're deciding to protect a SaaS application, you cannot go on and add a new data protection vendor for each application that you are trying to protect. You cannot have one for Atlassian, one for M365, one for Dynamics 365, one for Azure, and so on. And the list is really never ending, right? So what you need is one platform that is capable of protecting all your SaaS, cloud, as well as on-prem applications, which is what HYCU does. HYCU R-Cloud provides. So this is the same platform that you use to protect Dynamics 365 and all other SaaS applications that I mentioned, whether it's just GitHub or M365 or Notion or Workday or Salesforce or GitLab or anything that you name. This is the platform that's going to help you protect all those applications. And the features that you see here, backup autopilot, flexible retention. Autopilot meaning that you set policies once and you essentially forget, and the policy-based backups keep happening. And retention is up to you. We do not force you to retain your data for a particular period of time. If you want to keep your data for just 1 week, you're free to do so. If you want to retain your data for 6 months, it's at the end of the day, it is your data protection, and you're free to define your data protection strategy, is what our philosophy is. And we don't force you to do full recovery. The entire value provided by R-Cloud is around granular recovery. You can pick and choose exactly what you want, whether it is a table or a record or an object, whatever you choose to recover, you can recover exactly that. And we when we tell we provide immutable backups, we are not owning the backups, and we are not providing immutability we are not enabling immutability on behalf of you. And we'll look more about it, how we provide true immutability. When I tell true immutability, I'm telling you control your immutability. You set immutability in your ST compatible targets. And so we will be looking deep into all of those features in a couple of slides. But again, something that I wanted to highlight was our coverage spreads well across Microsoft. Like, we see a lot of Microsoft shops in our customer base whose entire business is built on Microsoft infrastructure and runs on Microsoft services. So if you're already running M365, if you're already running Entra ID for all your identity requirements, and if you're already using Azure services, whether it's for compute or storage, uh, or whether you're using GitHub or Azure DevOps, this is all covered by HYCU today. And which is why I wanted to make sure that this is not a point product for focused or purpose built for Dynamics 365. It's a platform product that covers everything, including Dynamics 365 and a lot of other Microsoft services. So if you're a Microsoft shop, the only data protection platform that you'll ever need is HYCU, because we've got you well covered. And the granular recovery part that I told, it's applicable to Dynamics 365 and all the other workloads that we protect, whether it is Atlassian M365, you go and pick the exact mailbox, the exact object in Atlassian, the exact record or table in Dynamics 365, and we will be able to recover it. And when we talk about recovery in Dynamics 365, we are talking about relationship aware recovery. Like, if you go and have all your data alone back in place, which is what a lot of vendors offer today, and you are supposed to rebuild all the relationships by yourself, it's going to take you multiple days. But what we offer is relationship aware recovery, which is what you really need when it comes to Dynamics 365. And it's all we are very true to the core principle of SaaS, which is simplicity. You don't need to do a week-long deployment or anything like that. It's just a matter of configuring your source and setting up an S3 bucket as your target and filling up this dialog box, which is the policy definition dialog box. It's essentially that, and you're done. You can rest assured knowing that R-Cloud is going to run backups as per the policy that you define. Like I told, the policy is completely flexible. We don't have pre-built policies, and we don't force it upon you. If you want to define your data protection strategy by setting up different policies for different workloads, all that is possible. When you look at the vendors in the market, most of them are still giving very concrete, non-flexible policies, and they are basically defining their customers' data protection strategy. But we don't do that. We provide 100% flexibility with respect to policy definition. And this is something that I really wanted to talk about, because this is one of the core philosophies of HYCU, where it not just differentiates HYCU from other vendors, but it also provides a very unique value in today's day and age, which I think is very important. So to explain this better, I just wanted to share a customer story. I think that would perfectly capture the value that we provide by storing storing your backup data in your own storage. So this conversation happened a few months back regarding M365. The customer who I'm talking about is one of the largest consumer goods manufacturer in the world. They are based out of Europe, and they were evaluating HYCU along with a few competitors of us for backing up M365 and some Azure services as well. So they asked the competitor a simple question, which is, the competitor solution takes the customer's Microsoft data and places the backup in another Microsoft infrastructure, which is the customer managed the vendor managed, the competitor managed Microsoft infrastructure. So the customer's question was, what happens if the entire region goes down? What happens if both my production and backup goes down? And the customer saw it as a real possibility of that happening, because you are not really particularly in today's day and age, you're not really, no infrastructure is safe. It's not like the big cloud providers are safe, and then this public cloud vendor is better than them, or they are better than here. At the end of the day, to get resilience, the true ownership of backup should lie with customers. And the competitor's response for that question was an act of that will be an act of God. That is, both the production and backup infrastructure going down is going to be an act of God, and they can't protect against those scenarios. And after that, the customer who I spoke with came to HYCU, and we were able to deliver what the customer asked for. And ever since, they've been with us. So, I mean, this is how mature organizations think today about data protection. The organization that I'm talking about is it's a very large consumer goods manufacturer, and their data protection strategy seems to be very mature, like well ahead of the curve. And if they are thinking on these terms, there is no reason for every other player in the region to think about in the same terms, because the possibility that they are thinking about, that is both production and backup infrastructure going down at the same time, is a very real scenario in these days. Like, so the recommendation that we give to our customers is take your data from production, whether it is Microsoft in the case of Dynamics 365 or any other cloud. Your production and your backup needs to be of two different vendors. If you can do that, your resilience posture significantly goes up. Like, that is, that one act can improve your resilience significantly. So that is what we recommend, and that is what we enable our customers to do. But if you want to store in Azure, we can provide that. If you want to store your backups in AWS or GCP, Google Cloud Storage, any S3 compatible storage, we can support all that. And basically, you can enable immutability to your buckets, and your backups will become immutable. We do not configure on your behalf, which is what we called true immutability at the beginning. So we enable our customers to be truly resilient by providing them complete control and ownership of their backup data. So I'm almost done here, just a couple more slides. So I also wanted to highlight the fact that we are not just a Microsoft focused vendor or a Dynamics 365 vendor. Our coverage spreads across all SaaS services and all major public cloud providers. We cover AWS services, we cover Google Cloud services, we cover Nutanix and VMware as well, and we cover all the critical SaaS applications that exist today. So with R-Cloud, you're not just going to protect Dynamics 365. It is just one platform, one learning curve, and you can implement the same data protection platform to protect all your critical SaaS and public cloud services. So before we close off, just wanted to highlight what we are doing differently and what we are doing very well when you compare to other vendors in the market who've been Dynamics 365 data protection has been offered by certain other vendors for the past few years, I would say. But if you closely look at it, none of the offerings in the market today seem very mature. One, the relationship aware recovery story is it's a very difficult thing to do, and a lot of our competitors are having trouble over it, and we provide full relationship aware recovery. And when it comes to full environment restore, we not only provide granular recovery, we also provide complete environment restore as well. So you don't need two different products. You don't need to go to Microsoft for full environment, and you don't need to go to another third party for granular recovery. With HYCU R-Cloud, you do both from the same platform. You roll back the full instance with HYCU. You also go and do granular recovery with HYCU R-Cloud. And we just spoke about the value that we provide by storing the backups in your own storage. And we also saw how our platform is able to cover a lot of other services beyond Dynamics 365, beyond Microsoft services as well. If you look at our competitors, their breadth is often very limited when it comes to SaaS and cloud services. And even for the vendors who protect SaaS and cloud services, it's going to be different UIs and different user experiences. So it's not really a unified experience that you'll get like you do with R-Cloud. So that is it. Those were the things that I had in mind. That is what I wanted to cover. If there are any questions, you can post your questions in the chat or Q&A, and I'll be happy to answer. What about Business Central? Business Central is not in our roadmap yet. We've got that request from a few customers, but we are evaluating it. But there is not a committed timeline as yet. If we will cover Business Central after a year or so, maybe yes. So it depends on it's a decision that we have to make, and we've not made the decision as yet. Sales and customer service are the two modules that we protect today, and I expect field service to be going live very, very soon. So the three modules are our focus today. And I also get asked about the pricing a lot. So the pricing is $4 per user per month. This is the list price, but the actual price that any of you will be paying is going to be much different. It's going to be dependent on a lot of other factors, like with any other vendor as well. But the list price is $4 per user per month, and yeah. So yeah, I don't see any other question.
We do have one raised hand by Nick. Nick, I will allow you now to unmute. So if you want to ask your questions, you're unmuted now. You raise your hand. No. Seems like
Nick, no. Yeah, Nick has probably raised his hand and forgotten about it.
Okay.
Okay. I think I'm done. If you have any questions, feel free to write to us. We'll be happy to guide you and set up Dynamics 365 protection for you. And it was a pleasure talking to you all. Thank you. Thanks for your time. Thank you.